30th, 2025.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and we're going to we're going to pretend, we're looking back at this day,
Ah, okay, got it.
thinking about, you're checking your pension statement
Mm-hmm.
and what's going on in the world that day,
Right.
what's affecting those numbers.
I like it.
And we're going to focus on Asia, the U.S., and the U.K. based on insights from your pension advisor.
It's really interesting to see how all of these different regions, all these different markets sort of play off of each other, right? They all have their own thing going on, but they're all connected.
Yeah.
So it's cool to look at it all together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what makes it a little bit more fun than, just looking at one specific region or sector.
well,
So let's start in Asia.
okay.
Now, this particular day fell right in the middle of Lunar New Year celebrations.
Ah, right, of course.
So trading volumes were down.
Understandably.
Everyone was taking a break.
Yeah.
Can't blame them. But even with that, Asian markets still managed to show some growth.
Yeah, they did. And it's especially interesting when you see what drove that growth. I think, this growth wasn't just kind of evenly distributed.
Yeah.
It was really concentrated in the tech and e-commerce sectors.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, some of those big names, Alibaba, Tencent, they posted some pretty impressive profits.
Wow.
And, thinking back to some of the things you've mentioned about sustainable investing, it's interesting because a lot of these companies, they're really leading the way in green technology.
Oh, that's a great point.
Right. So it's like, not only are they doing well, but they're also sort of pushing things in a direction that, aligns with some of your values.
Exactly. It's not just about the numbers going up, but like what is behind those
Oh,
numbers?
sure, for sure.
Are those trends? Do they match my goals?
Right, exactly.
Things like that. Okay, so Asia was looking pretty good.
Yeah, seemed to be.
But now let's hop over to the U.S., where things were a little different, shall we say.
Yeah, a little bit of a different story in the U.S. The markets actually went down a bit after the Federal Reserve decided to keep interest rates right where they were.
Hold on now. The Fed keeps interest rates the same and the market goes down.
Yeah.
Help me out here.
Yeah. I know it seems a little counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
But it all comes down to expectations.
Okay.
A lot of investors, they were kind of hoping for a rate cut,
Hmm.
to kind of juice the economy a little bit, especially since there were some, signs that things might be slowing down a little.
Okay.
But by keeping those rates steady, the Fed was basically saying, hey, we're not super worried about things crashing right now.
Right.
But that also meant they weren't really actively trying to boost things either.
Okay.
So some investors, they got caught a little off guard by that. And that's why you saw that dip in the market.
Okay. So it's kind of like the market was hoping for, a little push from the Fed. And then when they didn't get it,
Yeah.
there was a bit of a,
A little bit of a tantrum.
yeah, a little bit of chance.
A little.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the UK.
All right. Across the pond.
Yeah. Where it seems like they were, celebrating.
Yeah. It seems like they decided to go their own way a bit.
Right.
The UK market actually went up that day. And a lot of people are saying that was because of the chancellor's, all the new growth initiatives he was putting forward.
Okay. So what are we talking about here? Like tax cuts, infrastructure?
It sounds like a pretty big mix of things, to be honest.
Okay.
Reports are mentioning potential tax cuts to get people spending more,
Okay.
coupled with some pretty serious investments in infrastructure,
Yeah.
Creating jobs, boosting the economy, that kind of thing.
Right.
And then there's also this buzz about deregulation, maybe cutting some red tape to make things easier for businesses and attract more investment. So it seems like all of that together, it kind of gave the UK market a bit of a confidence boost.
So for someone listening who's maybe thinking about, diversifying their portfolio, is the UK something that they should be looking at?
It's definitely interesting. I mean, if these initiatives actually work the way they're supposed to,
Right.
the UK could be a really good place for investors.
Okay.
But of course, always, you got to do your research
Yeah, absolutely.
and really think about, does this fit with my own investment strategy?
You always got to do your homework.
Always.
But it is exciting to see these three regions, they're all kind of telling a different story, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it just goes to show you how global everything is these days.
Yeah.
What happens in one place can really have a ripple effect everywhere else.
Right.
Like even that decision by the Fed to hold rates steady in the U.S.,
Yeah.
that could end up influencing how investors are behaving in Asia and the U.K.
It's like a big interconnected web.
Exactly.
All right. So just to kind of wrap things up for our listener,
Yeah.
what are the key takeaways from our little, trip around the world on January 30th, 2025?
All right. So in Asia, we saw some really targeted growth.
Right.
especially in tech and those sustainable sectors.
Right.
Definitely something to keep an eye on.
Okay.
The U.S., they're kind of playing it safe.
Mm.
The Fed's being cautious, which, creates a bit of uncertainty.
Yeah.
And then the UK, they're kind of a wild card right now, with all those growth initiatives.
Right.
There's potential for big rewards, but also some risks.
It's true. And I think that's what's so great about the markets.
Right.
There are always opportunities.
Yeah.
But you really have to understand, what's happening globally. You got to do your research before you jump into anything.
Could not agree more.
Absolutely. And I think, just to leave our listener with something to think about,
Yeah.
if you were managing your own investments,
Okay.
which region would you be most interested in exploring right now and why?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, makes you think a little bit.
It does.
All right, well, until next time,
Sounds good.
keep learning.
Yeah.
Keep exploring.
Keep that financial brain engaged.
Absolutely.
All right. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.